Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to have a little bit of a market meditation here. It's Tuesday at 3:45 p.m. in Costa Rica. Hope you guys have all had a wonderful week so far. What we're going to do is we're going to start with some fundamentals, technicals, and we're just going to kind of take an overview market assessment, and we're going to go from there. So we are going to start by dropping in and taking a look at the data we like to look at on chain, looking for the wait, hold on, what's going on here? How did tried to do something. Okay, well that's not going to work. I'm going to have to find a different way to do this. None of these are working. Okay, how about that? Okay, there we go. As you can see on my screen, I was trying to fix something. It's not working, so we're just going to move on from there. We're going to go from here. Okay, the Glassnode data. Again, for those of you that don't know, the amount of Bitcoin on the open exchanges is a very valuable insight. Reason being is we're looking for net changes in the open balance. Reason being is because as that open balance changes, the volatility aspect of Bitcoin changes. So on the far right-hand corner of the screen right now, you can see, let's actually make it a little bigger there. Yeah, so here we go, full screen version of this, it'll be better. Okay, so on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, you can see that we've actually had a significant increase in supply the last week as we test this new area. Now, what's interesting is, first off, this is the first fairly large increase in the balance on the exchanges, as we've been going down every day pretty much since the beginning of August. We've decreased in supply here. So one of the things this is likely connected to is actually the fear and greed index. So right now, this large increase in supply is likely a bunch of people who are taking profits based off of where they already are, or are reducing their exposure. So because technical analysis is largely based off the psychological influences of people on a day-to-day basis, we go back in this crypto fear versus greed chart quite frequently. And over the last week, we've been actually quite low in the fear index. We hit a 21 point, which is actually pretty really good. If we compare that to where we were back in September with our previous LPS, and even further back here in May during our primary accumulation channel, we are primed here for an accumulation to take place, but also that extra fear, which has really probably pushed the last few participants out of the market before we go haywire. And we've seen this before. Right before the market goes almost asymmetric in the finality of its bull market, you have a bunch of people who are like, that's it, I'm done, it's too volatile, I want to move on to another asset, and that's what they end up doing. They end up switching their characteristic investment, usually right at the exact wrong time. It's fantastic to watch take place. If you've ever been in that moment, I'm not sure if you have, but you've been in an investment, you're sitting around, an investment is basically looks like it's doing nothing. All the other market is going crazy, and you go, well, why am I sitting on an investment that's not doing almost anything? It's just been going down, and you click sell, and then like within 24 hours, usually the market takes off. The market is designed to psychologically take advantage of you, and the reason why those moments happen so often is because the human psyche is actually pretty freaking similar between all the people. Okay, so we're going to go back to this chat, and we're going to actually roll over and take a look at the accumulation pattern we've been following. So from May, this primary spring highlighted by the area, let's open up our Schwaggly Duper. Here we go, is our Schwaggly Dupe. There's our spring. And we have had SOS, LPS, SOS, and it looks like we're forming our LPS fractal here now, which again, I thought would bring us around 52 to 53,000. Now, if we look a little closer here on the 45-minute, we can see that we are still not able to close back above the $54,000 range, which is what we were looking for. So I do suspect the next dip in our LPS brings us to around 51,000. And we got really close there on the on the 26th of November here at around 54,000. So if we look at the 4 hour, we can see a little bit more clarity what this trading range looked like. Here's the top. It looks like we want to push into the bottom of this LPS, somewhere around 52 $1,000 is my guess. And I do suspect that we're going to get that we're going to see another drop, a quick drop down, a reaccumulation, and a firing back up. So probably within the next week or two, we're going to see a big bullish move for Bitcoin and pretty much everything else. When we take a look at Ethereum, we see that very similar story taking place, a bit of a different reaccumulation pattern, much shorter SOS, LPS. Here's an SOS and our final LPS phase that we've just taken place. Again, I believe this will bring us up to around $8,500 Ethereum. We've said that since around August of 2020. I still stand by that sentiment. Now, what happens over the next few years, who knows? But ultimately, the whole market looks like it's extraordinarily set up for a continuation of this bull market. Really all the way across the board, we see that. So if we jump in and take a look at Avalanche, one of our all-time favorites, if you've been following the channel for a long time, we've been trying to tell you, at least my opinion, that Avalanche is going to leave Ethereum in the dust. A lot of people made fun of us for that. In terms of gains, it has absolutely beat Ethereum. And what we're looking for now is the potential for Avalanche to eat up the whole DeFi space. Now, again, I could be incorrect in my assertion here. This is just like a thought that I have, but largely that thesis is only strengthened as time has gone on. So here we have Avalanche up at $120. If you look back here, that June, July, August accumulation range down at $14 has done really, really well for us. We're already up 650% since those secondary entries back in August. So super stoked about that. Really glad to get all the messages from all of you who made your own conclusion and decided to invest in Avalanche upon your own interest, regardless of what I'm saying. You should do your own due diligence, do your own research, because we want you to be empowered to make your own decisions. So Avalanche has been an absolute powerhouse of a performer for us. Same with Solana. I personally believe that Avalanche is going to take over a lot of the DeFi sector, and Solana is going to take over a lot of the Web3 kind of social game space. So the other day I did a video about Polis and Avalanche. Atlas. I quickly wanted to touch base on that as there was a little bit of confusion. I said in the video, both are in a very strong accumulation pattern right now. They're both going to perform really well. I was making the point that I thought Polis was undervalued compared to Atlas because everybody was looking at Atlas, misunderestimating the fact that there's a different freaking token called Polis, which I've seen almost nobody tweet about. So I'm heavy into Polis right now. And again, it wasn't that Atlas is overvalued. It's that Atlas is overvalued compared to Polis, which is undervalued. So it's not... these are both in bullish setups. I said that very clearly. I know it's not always easy to ascertain. We're like, oh, what do you mean? So some guy was like, I'm going to sell all my Atlas for Polis. Don't do stupid, irrational things. If you feel like you're getting emotional because something a YouTuber said, you need to stop and readdress your entire financial decision. Because my goal here is to help increase your confidence level by showing you technicals. And you should never, a good investment is never just a good investment today. A good investment is usually a good investment for decades. We could be wrong about Star Atlas. We could be right. And if we're right, it'll be a good investment for a long time to come. So don't make any rash decisions just because you were a little confused about something I said. That makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, so back to Polis here. Again, this looks like a really strong accumulation pattern. We see a nice triple bottom or inverse head and shoulders. We've followed these before. Boom, boom, boom. Actually more closely related to a triple bottom, but the head and shoulders and the triple bottom could be deceivingly and eerily similar. Whereas with Atlas itself, it appears that we are in a much larger cup and handle accumulation pattern, which again we went over. So we've got a triple bottom and a cup and handle accumulation pattern taking place. These are both bullish setups. I'm bullish on both of these, but at that moment Polis was much more undervalued. Currently it was sitting at $7.50 when we made that video. It's now almost gone up 30% to $10 since then, whereas Atlas has stayed relatively in the same place at the same time. So we'll take a few thoughts and a few questions for the next few minutes and take a look at from there. Fausto says, Tio, good seeing you. It's been a while. I've been able to catch you on one of your live videos. I know it's been a while since I've done live videos, so here we are. Thank you guys for that. We're always trying to mix it up, always trying new things. I'm not a consistent YouTuber, but the content and the value of that content has been consistent. Let's see a few more of your guys' thoughts and questions. Arcane, I was promised a Lambo, but all I have are some old coinage. It sounds like you haven't been in the game long enough, but I know you're just making fun there as well. So, ETH chart, ETH to Bitcoin. Yeah, we stopped measuring things against Bitcoin when all the bigger funds showed up, because they don't measure their fund in Bitcoin. They're still telling their billionaire friends how many billions of dollars they have in asset under management. Now, in the future, I actually suspect we will see how many Bitcoin in relationship these funds have in assets under management, but that's not happening today. So all the large funds who have done more money than you are measuring their portfolio in dollars. So that's how they're going to basically play their comp man game. Why AVAX over DOT? The technology is way better. Avalanche technology is way better than DOT. That's why. He's not even on log. There's no need to be in log. A logarithmic chart is much better for longer time frames. Like if I was charting a 7-year market cycle, log would make a lot of sense, but we're not. We're charting the market cycle we are in right now. And because you are a human and you live your life in a linear fashion, not a logarithmic fashion, and we're interested in the psychology of you, the human, then that's why we chart in linear fashion. It has worked perfectly. So your log chart is basically useless for me unless it's on a longer term time frame, in which case the log chart actually provides a lot of value, which is showing a percentage variation of change instead of just the day over day linear dollar. Okay, let's take a look. Can you look at CRA? It's on Avalanche, and it's like Axie on Avalanche. Yeah, big fans of Crabata. We tried to invest in them, but I fell asleep. I was on the whitelist and everything. I had a headache that day. That headache cost me a lot of fucking money. That headache cost me 6 figures. Okay, let's take a look at a few more thoughts. I hope Star Atlas will bring the mini game soon. Yeah, I think they're bringing out a mini game. I didn't check their roadmap. I'll try to do that again for the next videos to see when they're doing that. But it's supposed to be coming out soon. How many exchanges do you use? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know my favorite exchange, go to arcanebear.com/FTX. It's the only place I use anymore. Aside from this decentralized indexes, like if I want to get something on from Serum on Solana, or if I want to get something from Uniswap or Polygon, effectively, I will use the decentralized exchanges. But I love FTX as a portfolio asset management tool. Anyways, that's that. How many? Oh yeah, that was. We just went over this one. Warren Bondurant for $22.22. Thank you. I love that number. You're awesome. Thank you for the information. I'm so happy to share. I really appreciate your support on that one. Gargoyle King says, keep up the good work. I love when you chart. It's so much better than 99% of the other YouTubers out there. Stay safe. I appreciate that. You know, I've spent a decade doing this stuff. So to be able to bring and distill that value to you guys is hugely valuable. I'm so grateful that has worked out over the last few years. And that so many people have done so well. I get messages quite frequently of people who have turned like 70 grand into $1 million by following some pretty simple steps in terms of building a portfolio and a thesis. So I'm really grateful that everything is working so far for you guys. Crypto West says, have you claimed your Unstoppable domain yet? I chatted with Unstoppable and they were being dicks about, we're freaking GC. So I never did. I do own arcanebear.eth, arcanebear.sol, and we're working on the Avalanche one, but ENS, the ENY domains for Avalanche have not started yet. So I do not own the Unstoppable domains because they were a little cheap chumpers. I don't really like them. Just a personal rendition of the conversations I had with them. Great content, awesome. Do you think ADA will do well? ADA is one of my least exciting investments. Personally, I love Charles. I think Charles is a great founder. That's what we look for in a good project, is a visionary founder, and Cardano has that. But I'm just hands down, Avalanche and Solana I think are going to be the lead indicators. Now, I don't know why I think that. It's just, you could call it intuition, but that's the way it is. Nice. Coached AP Elite Fitness says the deadlifts are looking good. Thanks. I appreciate that. For those of you that didn't know, I've taken up deadlifts and kettlebells at the house right beside the pool. Just anyways, it's a lot of fun. So thanks for that. My back's looking super straight when I do it as well. How many Bitcoins do you own? What? Some people are hilarious. I actually, funny side note there. For those of you that know, search engine optimization is a way to look up what words people search in that go along with say Arcane Bear. And one of the most frequently looked up things the last month was Arcane Bear's net worth. So thank you guys for your interest in my monetary success. But that's, unless Forbes declares it, it won't be a public thing. And when Forbes declares it, don't worry. It'll be a fun moment. I'll be celebrating alongside everyone else. Probably more than you, though, I would assume, because anyone who's got enough money never asks questions like that. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not even a valuable piece of information to know. Enough. Let's go with enough. I'm very happy. Okay, we'll go over a few more quick thoughts and questions with you guys here as well. So if you've got any questions that you want me to riff or rant about, share that in the chat there. Let's see. LX07 says, you are an incredible person in every way. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I'm just another flawed human finding my way through the muck. Thank you for being a light in this exciting crypto world, and your wisdom is appreciated. Thank you. I like that. What's your thoughts on Thetan Arena? So every now and then, no, it wasn't on here. Niant Heroes. Is that? No, it's not. Okay, this is a different company. I don't know anything about Thetan Heroes, so I can't really speak on that. I'm very bullish on the play to earn sector. I have no idea which video games are going to be successful, largely speaking, but finding ones that are building large communities and have a really good adoption rate is probably the best way to go. And we do see some of those starting to take place. We actually have a podcast this evening with Decimated, so that's going to be a really exciting play to earn game that we look at as well. Do you explain the tech behind alts in your private group, or how to value them as an asset? In the private group, we mostly focus on venture capital. The technical stuff is to give you confidence for making long-term entries into a trade. We do not do day trading. I fucking hate it. It's a horrible idea to day trade. Anyone who's that jacked up in their mindset probably leaves a pretty poor life internally. I could be wrong, but at least I know if I were to try to do that thing, it just destroys my internal emotional self. I spend most of my time meditating, doing yoga, and like going for hikes and shit, taking the dogs for walks. I don't have time to be staring at the screen all the time. So what we do is we look for these long-term accumulation patterns. Like here on the screen with Atlas, you had approximately at least 60 days of accumulation there. With Avalanche, this beautiful accumulation range between May to June. So you have like a month or two. People largely get way too excited about a trade, like, oh my God, if it goes here, it's gonna go there, and then it will go there, and then everything will go here, and if you just get in now, and you go to 100 fucking useless content creators just hyping your emotional shit up and probably helping you lose money more than make it. A good investment will be a good investment tomorrow. A good investment today will be a good investment a year from now. Avalanche through May and July here, this nice trading range that we had been watching at the bottom, why we were so bullish, the nice little spring we had back here. Oh, this was such a beautiful moment. The reason why we were so bullish is because of this technical indicator. Yes, all of our private PDFs are educational around how to spot and identify the volume and trading characteristics of a trading range like this, but largely patience is your best asset in almost any investment here. Let's see. Jack Dorsey's latest move. Well, he quit. I hear Jack Dorsey is leaving Twitter to take on the primary role as Gandalf in the next Lord of the Rings. So that's pretty good. Are you involved in DAOs? Yes, mostly interested in the guild DAOs at the moment. We'll be looking at those in the next few videos. Can you do TA on SLP? We won't do too much more TA right now. ETH Maxi's bashing Avalanche. Is AVAX safe to go with my ETH for DeFi? Avalanche now has like $18 billion in TVL. It's doing 55% of the amount of transactions as Ethereum is doing and has a quarter of the value locked. So people are underestimating Avalanche still. Is there still life in DGB? We've walked away from most of our baby Bitcoin thesis and we're focusing entirely on the play to earn because, as I've said in multiple videos now, I believe that is our adoption curve. Any thoughts on Powell's comments today, transitory inflation being retired? bull market is going to extend for probably a decade. They have no choice but to keep printing capital. So we're going to be in a bull market for quite some time. I love Ben Kovac here, who's doesn't understand the term macro thinking and probably looks at the 15-minute chart far too often. Ben, I feel sorry for you. It's too bad. Are you probably a poor guy? Comments like that. Let's see. Crypto West says games will come like wheat grows. Make sure you invest in fundamentals. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of games that come and go. There is in the space effectively by itself. So again, what I believe is so powerful with the play to earn sector is you offer an on-ramp for billions of people to find a way to buy Bitcoin without ever needing a bank account. And that is extraordinarily powerful. Do not underestimate that. I believe that is our mass adoption that we've been waiting for. So that's why I'm so heavily focused in that area. Are you going to participate in the GuildFi auction tomorrow? No, I'm not. I'm a big fan of GuildFi. I'm looking at some of the guilds. Avocado Guild is one of the ones that have our eyes. Rainmaker is one of the ones that we are chatting with as well. We actually have both of these guys coming on the show in the coming weeks as well. And a Star Atlas Guild. This is our general research. AVAX is incredible. When do you think its parabolic run ends? Yeah, we're definitely going to see a new trading range form for Avalanche here soon, I believe. I think that's what we're doing right now. We just hit the primary PSY. Let's see. Omicron, Black Swan. No, Omicron is nothing to be worried. I bet you it's a more mild virus. I won't talk about any of these things because it's just not fair for the YouTube channel, but I think it's just a scare tactic, much like all of it, actually. Have you heard of Xaya? Well, I've heard of Avalanche, which is XAVA, so like Avalanche, but back with X first instead. Let's see. Have you? Let's see. Block and Yay were some speculative investments. Again, anything in the video game sector, guys. If you're finding it and you think it's interesting, generally you want to follow your own intuition, because when you have an idea and you don't follow it because you listen to someone else, and then in the long run you find out you're right, you feel stupid for not listening to yourself. The best thing I can do is try to empower you to follow your own intuition. If there's something you think that's interesting and you're finding signal there, start investing. Not financial advice, but again, if you take this broader perspective thesis that month-over-month investments largely yield a much higher return than just trying to day trade, you're going to do really well. Maybe Yay Games is like the biggest thing ever, and I'm like, oh, I'm not spending time at that. I'm focused over here on Avocado Guild, and I missed out on Yay Games. But you're like, oh my God, I was focusing on Avocado Guild because Tio was like, well, that's stupid. You shouldn't listen to me. I'm here just to provide my own personal opinion about the things I find interesting and where I find signals, so that if you are also happening to be looking at that same stuff, and you go, well, that's great. I actually feel there's a lot of synergy here, so I'm going to make an investment in Yay Games, whatever it might be. But follow your own intuition. I cannot suggest that enough. Would you change Near and Oasis into Avalanche? I don't know what Near or Oasis is. Generally, I don't think you should ever trade asset for asset. If you bought an asset that you're not super stoked about anymore and you want a different asset, you shouldn't sell this asset for this one. What you should do is keep this and buy more of the new one, and don't buy more of the old one, right? And just buy more of the new one. That's it. If you're going to jump around and trade assets, you're doing everything wrong. Don't do that. Polis is doing nicely. Thanks for the advice. Well, I do not give advice here. I just share my personal thoughts and opinion about what I find interesting, and the signal that I'm looking for within the market. So congratulations. If you had any thoughts on Illuvium, I like Illuvium. Again, I'm a big fan of the play to earn sector. Specifically, any of one of them, I'm not invested in Illuvium. I am invested in Star Atlas, on the other hand. Big fan of Star Atlas. I'm a huge fan of Michael Wagner and Pablo. I look for visionary people, and both of those gentlemen clearly had that. So it was a great chatting with them. Check out our podcast with them as well. Do you know Red Fox Labs? If not, you might want to check it out. I was looking at Red Fox Labs. I believe we were chatting with some of them Benny? Bitcoin Benny? Is that who it is? Anyways. Neo says, thanks, man. What's your thoughts on Cypher, the tokenomics? I have no idea what Cypher is. Shill the Bear Den, shill it. Okay, well, seeing as it's one of our private Bear Den members, ladies and gentlemen, the disease and the sickness of the early investor comes from over-emotional trading and lack of education. And the cure, the easiest way to overcome these problems is by joining a group of like-minded individuals who are going over the same things and really curating the confidence that's necessary to make long-term investments. We have almost 1,000 people in the private group, and there's no risk. How could you not do this? There's no risk. If you sign up and you are not happy, we'll just give you your money back because we have 1,000 happy people. We've delivered a lot of great alpha, and if there's something you're not getting out of it, it probably has to do with you, and that's why we just give you a refund, because we are not accountable for you. You are. So why not take it? It's a no-risk chance. Down in the links below, arcanebear.com/private. That is my shill. Cure the disease of the early investor by educating yourself and surrounding yourself with calm, passionate, like-minded individuals who continue to keep investing. Accountability is a very powerful thing. Okay, that was my Bear Den shill. Crypto Weiss, the last one's here, says, I do think that taking profits and reinvesting in other opportunities is a good way to make crypto with crypto and not going back to USD. Sometimes you want a coin for a coin. I bet you I could formulate just someone who works at McDonald's and only vests $50 a month in comparison with the trading avenue that you just talked about. And I bet you the person at McDonald's who just only invests is better than the trader. And that's only like $50 to $200 a month. That's not even a big strategy. We're dealing with asymmetry, but this shit goes up and it goes straight up. Like, we're starting to aim at 1000x only. That's one of the fun things about decentralized venture capital. The upside here is fucking infinite, basically, right? So you're gonna take a little bit of profit to get into another thing, and you're gonna turn around, and by the time you get back, the thing has gone up another 500x, and you fucking totally missed out. And that's what happens to most people, is they trade a coin, for another coin, for another coin. Meanwhile, they miss all the gains. Instead of, they could have just been patient and put a little bit and started to diversify if they were unsure about their first investment. If you've made an investment that you are unsure about, you need to make a different investment, not sell the old one. Okay. As a YouTuber, I have to say that was a pretty good shill. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I spent a few hours on writing that little pitch. Thank you. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Everything is looking fantastic still. I do believe we're going to have a run up to probably around $95,000 Bitcoin on this next little section here. And then that'll probably be pretty close to the finality of the bull market. And then I think we're going to see about a 500 to 600 day reaccumulation period before we continue down the next bull market. So the next bull market is not very far away. Whatever bear market we have is literally just meant for buying everything else that you want to get your fucking hands on. That's it. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Bear markets are for accumulating. Bull markets are for generally selling. You want to be very, very deep in your position, hopefully by the time the bear market is over, because that's where all the good positions are taking place. Thank you for joining us today. It's a little bit of a longer episode. We will do these live streams again soon. I'll see you guys in the next episode.